What's up, guys? Bang, bang. It's lunch money time. While Washi's trying to get rich, the rest of us just trying to get our lunch money right. We are here back in the studio. We have help. Jordy's here. My brother, the ugly one, is sitting over in the corner, but he won't show his face, so you don't know which one I'm talking about. And I have the intelligent and beautiful Polina right here next to me. Don't forget that Lunch Money is now sponsored by BlockFi. BlockFi has 3 products. You can buy and sell crypto on their crypto exchange. You can deposit crypto and earn up to 8.6% APY in that interest-bearing account. Or you could deposit crypto and take out a US dollar loan to get your crypto collateral. They're also coming out with a credit card where you can swipe your credit card and you'll get Bitcoin rewards rather than cash back or airline miles. Go sign up at blockfi.com/pomp. Blockfi.com/pomp. Go sign up. What's up, Polina?
All right, so this is the big story of the day. Ooh.
Big story.
Big story. Stanley Druckenmiller. Stanley Druckenmiller says the Fed is endangering the dollar's global reserve status. He says, I can't find any period in history where monetary and fiscal policy were this out of step with the economic circumstances. Not one, he said. Though he agreed with the early steps the Fed took during the pandemic of all the money printing, etc., thing, he said that the Fed has kept its foot on the gas for too damn long. What do you say?
Did you just say this with...
I did. One more time.
No.
Oh.
Stanley Druckenmiller has been saying exactly what Bitcoin has been saying for a while, and Stanley Druckenmiller also owns Bitcoin. Not a coincidence.
Wait, does he own Bitcoin?
Yes, not a coincidence. Here's the deal, is when you continue to print trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, and then you print trillions and trillions and trillions more, you have to devalue the currency. And so what we are watching is central banks absolutely destroy what we know as financial markets, because they believe that you can continue to print as much money as they possibly need and it won't have the negative side effects. And if they start to see negative side effects, they believe that they will be able to control inflation on the other side. But now you are hearing, this is not Bitcoiners. This isn't laser-eyed, Luddites on the internet that everyone just scoffs at and says they don't know what they're talking about. This is Stanley Druckenmiller. Stanley Druckenmiller is one of the best investors in Wall Street. He's literally compounded money at over 30% for more than a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, I think. I think he's been doing it for 30 plus years, and he's performed at the highest levels on Wall Street. There's not a person on Wall Street that doesn't respect what Stanley Druckenmiller does. When he says, I'm going on television, he went on television to explain an op-ed that he put, I think it was in the Wall Street Journal, and they gave him like 30 minutes on CNBC. When Stanley Druckenmiller says, I got something to say, Wall Street shuts up and listens. And for Stanley Druckenmiller to be saying he believes that in the next 15 years, the US dollar is going to lose global reserve status because of actions being taken today, you better believe the Federal Reserve, the Treasury, politicians, and every single financial institution on Wall Street peeked up and said, whoa, why? And they're asking questions this morning. So Stanley Druckenmiller is saying exactly what Bitcoin has been saying for a long time, only the person who's delivering the message is really, really important.
And he said, if they want to do all this and risk our reserve currency status, risk an asset bubble blowing up, so be it. But I think we ought to at least have a conversation about it. So does he feel like I feel like he's like ringing the alarm bell because nobody's even talking about that this is even a possibility.
Well, again, this is what I've been saying. Bitcoiners understand the economy better than Wall Street and the central bankers. What you are seeing is an academic exercise play out. And the reason why everyone isn't talking about it is because everyone's getting rich. This is good for rich people. It's literally what I've been saying for a year now, is when they print money, they are enriching the rich people and they are making the poor people poorer. Well, guess what? The poor people, the bottom 45% of Americans, they don't have a voice. There is nobody in the bottom 45% that has a say. This is not a democratic process. This is simply central banks who are manipulating currencies and interest rates in a way with the guise of we're helping people. But really what they're doing is they're making rich people richer and poor people poor. And so now what you have is you have one of the richest men in America raising his hand. And he's saying, hey, this is good right now. Everyone's getting rich. But so was everyone in Weimar, Germany. Every single person thought they were getting rich until hyperinflation happened. And so what we have to be careful of is while everyone's getting rich, Where are we going? Stop focusing on where we are today. Where are we going? And if you continue to devalue currency and you continue to print money, you're likely to go to a place that no one wants to go. So wake up, stop printing money, stop systematically devaluing the currency, and stop punishing the people that need help the most. End rant.
I feel like what's going on right now is kind of an exercise in like theory versus like how the real world works. All these people were saying like, oh, but academically speaking, like this is how things should be. And then it's like, that's not how the world works in many different ways. And this is just one of them. Okay, speaking of this is not how the world works, schools across the world have been kind of focused on discipline and compliance and not cooperation, just like silence and like, I can't explain it. You know what I'm trying to say?
In school, they tell you, come here, kids, sit down, be quiet, and do what we say.
Right.
And they teach the kids
what was the word?
What to think.
Obedience. Obedience is the word I was
They teach them, fit within the system. They teach them, hey, if we literally break your will to be creative, to be innovative, to do what you want to do, to follow your passion, to ultimately be happy, we then can convince you to go take on loads of debt, or we can take you and convince you to go work in factories in the industrial age. School was built in a way for a world where it was important to break the will of people and get them to go into the workforce with the belief that they had to be obedient and they had to listen. But not anymore. We are no longer in the industrial age.
So we invested in synthesis. Separately. We invested separately in synthesis. They raised $5 million in Series A funding at a $50 million valuation. Okay, I'm done.
I led the Series A investment in synthesis. It was a school inside of SpaceX that Elon Musk built for his kids. There was one course called Synthesis that is spun out now into this software product. It is co-founded by the co-creator of that school with Elon and a software engineer from Class Dojo named Crispin Frank. They've got a bunch of teachers that they've hired, including our friend Ana Lorena Fabriga. And when I did the seed round and then the Series A, they made a list internally, unbeknownst to me, of all the people that they wanted to invest in the company. And next thing I know, Polina says, oh, I talked to them. They want me to angel invest. I'm going to do it. I said, okay. So Polina has made...
So I'm in his round.
Polina has made an angel investment. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice work. It's a great deal. Just so happens we both think it's a good deal. And so if you have a kid between the ages of 7 to 14, you should go to synthesis.is. Synthesis.is and go sign up. Your kid will learn problem-solving skills, complex thinking.
Mental models. So I know you said it's like a software product, but it's important to note that it's not just software. The software is kind of like the fuel. It's a game that you can play remotely, but there's a lot of collaboration with the kids over Zoom. So they're actually talking and they're getting excited and they're doing leadership skills. Like, for example, I watched a video, they call these magic moments, where they look at the kids in a session and they're like, oh my God, look at this like 11-year-old kid being like, you know what, guys, I think he should be the leader because he does really well under pressure. I don't think I should do it. And like stepping away to be like, stop it. Stepping away to be like, look, my buddy is like better at me than this. And I recognize that I'm super self-aware. So let's just get it done because we have 11 minutes left. And you see how like kids can collaborate and work better than you see at some of these like companies.
If you want your kid to be successful in the real world, go sign them up for Synthesis. If you're cool trusting your kid's future and your kid's education to the system, to the industrial education complex, leave them in school. Don't worry about it. Don't even go to the website. But synthesis.is may have the keys to unlock your kid's future potential.
All right.
Next.
Back to the economy. The U.S. economy is trying to restart itself from the pandemic. It's kind of sputtering. It's kind of like an old car. You're like, "Arr!" And then you got to push it. Okay. But apparently parts of it are severely broken. Can you tell I come from Bulgaria? Okay. Okay, never mind. So the country faces major shortages in everything from labor to semiconductors, lumber, and packaging materials. The scarcity is not only preventing the economy from reaching its full potential, but also raising fears of higher inflation as companies are forced to hike prices. These shortages, both labor and non-labor, will affect the speed under which the economy recovers, says Barclays head of economics research, Michael Gapin. Literally, this is a far different tune than we saw literally last week. Last week, it was like, U.S. economy back on track. Now it's U.S. economy can't restart. What's going on?
Tyson Foods is a $30 billion food supplier. The average increase of prices for Tyson Foods last quarter was 7.5%. That means that literally
my chicken nuggets?
Chicken costs 7.5% more on average.
Even my chicken nuggets?
All of it. The cost of goods is exploding. There is business after business, industry after industry that is deciding to raise prices between 5 and 10%. And yet we are being told by the Federal Reserve,
it's so confusing,
that the inflation number is sub 2%.
So
maybe we shouldn't trust the numbers coming from the organizations that are financially incentivized to lie to us. If you believe inflation is under 2%, you're an idiot. That's what I believe. If you believe that inflation is actually under 2%, you are a first-class idiot. And so then it begs the question, well, what is inflation? Is it 2.1% or is it 10%? And the truth is, nobody actually knows the real answer. Everyone has a different methodology of how you measure it. But what we do know is it's not the number they're telling us. It's much higher. And what we also know is that the cost of goods is exploding. And we have a government administration and a Federal Reserve and a Treasury that continues to believe that they can just go do whatever they want and there will be no negative consequences. And that, my friends, is not the way the world works.
Well, do you think that they were saying all of that to kind of like soothe fears and like calm things down, even though on the ground it is not the reality and people are smart enough to see that?
So let's say that's what they were doing. Are they then admitting that they were lying to people? They knew something to not be true and they still told people that?
Well, I don't know.
I'm not saying that that's what they're doing.
I don't know.
But
if
if that's the argument
intent.
we are simply just saying something to soothe people's fears, well, the other way to describe that on a factual basis would be they would be lying. So I actually think that they believe the numbers that they're sharing. I don't think that they're maliciously doing it. But I also think that the way that they have screwed around with the methodology of calculating these numbers is completely inaccurate. And when you actually look at the ground, at the reality of what's occurring, and you look at all of the data points, you can see the cost of goods is exploding and it ain't 2%. And so we have a choice. Either you can sit and say, hey, the government, the Federal Reserve, et cetera, is here to save me. They're going to look out for me and I'm going to trust them. Or you can say, regardless of what they do, if it's right or wrong, I'm going to make sure that I'm protected. Your choice. You know where I stand.
All right, moving on to more fun news. A Goldman Sachs London managing director is said to have quit after making a fortune on Dogecoin.
Savage.
Allegedly. Sources say, I'm not sure how much, but this man, Aziz McMahon, a managing director and head of emerging market sales at Goldman Sachs in London, has resigned, allegedly after making money on Dogecoin.
Does it say how much?
It does not.
I mean, if you work at Goldman Sachs and you're the head of emerging market sales, you probably get paid a pretty nice penny.
A nice penny.
And so
some might say.
It's not like the guy made $100K or $500K. My guess is that the guy made $10+ million and then quit.
That's wild.
I mean, that'd be my guess, right? Like, if you're working at Goldman Sachs and you make that type of money, do you really quit over $1 million?
Probably not.
Probably not, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he was already going to quit and this was his excuse and he just hated his job. Who knows for sure? But it's got to be a pretty serious amount of cash. Dogecoin, actually.
Okay. Moving on to the next story, and I have a bone to pick with you, and I had to find this out in the press.
Goats.
And I am bringing it here publicly to you guys first. He doesn't even know I have a bone to pick with him.
Goat time. Goat time.
So Mark Zuckerberg shared a photo of his two goats saying that his pet goats are named Bitcoin and Max. Upon seeing this news, he told me, and what I said was, haha, isn't it funny that he could be making a statement of that he's a Bitcoin maximalist? Because I'm good at puns. So I just said that, and then he tweeted it, and then it ends up in this article saying Morgan Creek digital co-founder Anthony Pompliano chimed in to ask whether Zuckerberg is telling us he is a Bitcoin maximalist with the names of his goats. Nowhere do I see credit. Nowhere do I see hat tip.
Hold on.
What am I?
Hold on.
Cooked meat? Wait, what do they call? Chopped liver? I forgot the phrase.
Stick to your Bulgarian phrases. Listen, let me defend myself. Let me defend myself. Let me defend myself.
Tell me, stealing content from my mind.
You said
on
something
your Twitter
factually,
feed.
and I had to go to the people. You said factually that's what it meant, and I said, let me ask the people what they think. And I asked a question. Do you know what a question mark is? Do they have those in Bulgaria?
But where's my credit?
You don't get credit. I was
What?
asking a question. You were saying a fact. And my guess is that your fact is inaccurate.
Oh my God, guys.
So I was asking a question to the people. The people have the answers. You don't have the answers. How, Sway? How?
You're wrong, Sway.
If you don't know the story behind how, Sway, how, just Google Kanye West. How, Sway?
It's Ask Lunch Money Time. Hashtag
Wait, are you
ask-
going to apologize to me?
No. This is, I'm about to, it's copyright.
I like this microphone like this because I can get real crazy with this.
Okay, Anthony, it gets crazy on the editing. Hashtag AskLM time. Please enter your questions below. I didn't see any good questions, so this is my time to ask a question to you guys.
Right now,
I didn't
you have a
think this
website
through.
up that it says build habits, develop a daily exercise habit,
No,
eat foods that make your brain bigger, how to build training habits like Magnus Carlsen.
I'm reading about Magnus Carlsen.
What do you spend all day putting in your brain?
I'm reading about Magnus Carlsen. Okay, fun fact. This is what we're going to do. Fun fact. He's a chess grandmaster, but
I could beat him.
No, every single day he does a 30 to 60 minute run on the treadmill, an hour or two of soccer, basketball, tennis, hiking, or skiing. And that's during tournaments when he's trying to conserve energy. He says that running is a time where I can go through game strategies. So if you're a chess player, you, my friend, are an athlete. That is all I have to say.
Just because you run on the treadmill doesn't make you an athlete.
Okay, skiing, hiking, soccer.
I've seen you run on the treadmill, and let's just say I wouldn't classify you as an athlete.
And that's it for today, guys.
Bye, guys.